Okay, the students are introducing themselves here, and I gave them this problem to start with. Just a little warm-up because we're going to take the first 20 today. Okay, now that you've introduced yourself to this person, would you please finish solving this thing and check your answer with them? See if you got the same thing. If you got something different, see where the mistake is in the work. All right, there's the first step. And the most common mistake is right there. People will go 3 times 2 is 6, and they'll forget to make it positive 6 because there was a negative here and there's a negative here. All right, so that positive 6, if that's missing, you're toast. All right, so now I'm going to look at that and that are like terms, so they go together. And that's negative x. This and this go together, plus 14 equals 5. You can reverse that and put the 14 first. It's fine. Now I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides. And I have negative x is equal to... Now, if you were in regular higher algebra, you wouldn't have to do this annoying math problem. But is it negative 9? Have I got it right? Okay. No? No? Oh. So why can't I just be done? Negative. All right, so I'm going to divide both sides by a negative, multiply both sides by a negative. Either one of them works. It's fine. The final answer looks like it's going to be x equals 9. Did anybody have that answer? All right, good. Okay, so that's just one. Would you agree that that's algebra? It's got variables in it. It's got multiple steps. It's got solving an equation. Like, that's the heart of algebra. That's the main thing. It really is. There's a lot of things to algebra, but this is like the main thing, or one of the main things. All right. What else is there? There's a lot of little things. One of them is factoring. Can you factor that? We did a little practice on this the other day, and I reminded you there was 2 sets of parentheses, and then you have to like put stuff in the beginning, some signs in there, some numbers at the end. Do you remember how to factor this? And again, the person across from you, some days you'll have a good day, sometimes you'll have a bad day. And it'll go both ways. Just be nice to each other, and if you're like, no, I got this, so what do you think? What do you think's right? Just talk to them about it. See if you got the same things they did. All right. Do you get that I have a number here, and if I have both of them be positive, I could never get a negative 25, right? One of them has to be negative. You know, of these two numbers, one has to be negative to get a negative 25. All right, that's called factoring. Now, how do I know it's right? Like, you can guess. Like I heard some kids say, and I just guessed, and that's fine. How do you tell if you're right? You got to be able to multiply it out. Another critical algebra skill. The firsts make x squared. The outside ones are these two, and that's negative 5x. The inside ones are these two, and that's positive 5x. The last ones are these two, and they make, I drew over the line there, but one's positive, one's negative. They make negative 25. And then these cancel, and then I'm back to what I had in the first place. So I think I did it right. This all cancels out, right? X squared minus 25. Okay, so can you multiply? Let's see if you can. 2x minus 3, x plus 4. Can you multiply with FOIL? Doesn't have to be FOIL. Do it your own way. Just get the right answer. This is critical algebra 1. You learned it, but it's been a long time.
That's what I got.
The firsts. 2x squared. It's really common to forget the squared on 2x. The outsides. These are on the outside. And that's 8x. And it's positive. And these are on the inside. And that's negative 3x. And then the lasts are these two. Negative 12. You put it all together, you got 2x squared plus 5x minus 12. Do you get if we were in a class where you were going to learn Spanish 2, that we would have to make sure you had most of your Spanish 1 language down? Like you'd have to know the colors, you'd have to know how to say, some conjugations of verbs and stuff. So you've learned some things in Spanish 1. That's why languages and math are the subjects that are the most alike at the high school. Learning Spanish is the most like learning math. Yes, because if you don't know Spanish 1, you can't learn Spanish 2. You know what I mean? You can go to Spanish 2 without Spanish 1. It's just freaking hard. That's what doing this class would be like. If I just jump right into Algebra 2 without reminding you how to do Algebra 1, it will be really, really hard. But if we can get you through Algebra 1, this class is easy. All right. So I need to now find your weaknesses. So this might hurt a little bit. You go to the doctor after you just like wiped out and you're hurt, and he's like pushing on different things like, does this hurt? Does this hurt? And then he finds the rib that's broken and he pushes on. He's like, ow, that hurts. It's gonna hurt a little bit. I'm going to give you this quiz. You're going to get a bunch wrong. And for high flyers like you guys who are taking honors, like I had kids like going, I got 9 out of 10. Can I do it over again? It'll be fine. If you get 9 out of 10 on this, it'll be amazing. All right? In fact, I would say the average score on this will probably be like, I'm going to guess, but I'm going to go with like probably a 13 out of 20. You're probably on average going to get 7 wrong because you've forgotten a lot of things. Now there'll be a few of you that'll stand out and that'll be kind of cool. I'll know who my wow, this kid remembers their crap. That's going to be awesome. And there'll be a few of you that are like, whoa, kid only knew 4 out of 20. Am I going to say, get out of honors? No, you can't leave. I really want you to stay and but you got to fix it. You got to fix it over the next few weeks. Earlier is better. If you can get all your algebra fixed, it's not so easy. All right, so now to find your weaknesses. We're going to do one last warm-up problem, and that helps me get the quiz ready, and then it's going to be a Schoology quiz. I personally like using paper for scratch paper, so I'm going to hand some out to you. And you'll have, if you want a pencil, I have pencils in a cup up here. And if you want to just use digital scratch paper, that's okay, because it's a Schoology quiz. You're going to have your iPad open anyway, all right? So it's either you're going to do the scratch work, like for this. You're not doing that in your head. You had to do some kind of paper. You can do it on digital paper, or I'll give you paper. And then you're typing your answers into the Schoology quiz. I'll save anybody who likes to cheat some time. Your quiz will be different than the kid next to you. Everybody's quiz is different than everybody's. Because I took forever making this by making 10 questions of each kind for each problem. And if you do the math on that, if there's 20 questions on the quiz and there's 10 of each, I had to make 200 problems up and then check the keys on it. It took forever. But now I'm done, and now when you get your quiz, it'll be different than everybody else's. But it's just like, if it was this one, instead of 2x minus 3, the kid next to you probably has 3x minus 3. They're very, very similar, just a little different numbers. So that prevents kids from trying to look at the kid next to them and copying. All right. So one last thing you gotta know for this is we're gonna combine those two skills. Can you factor and can you cancel? That is factoring again. This is the factoring we just practiced. Wait. There. If you factor the top and you factor the bottom, something will cancel, and your answer ends up being nice and clean. It's like x plus 3 over x plus 4. All right, see if you can do it. Or something like this on your test too. And I know some of your factoring is weak. It is I can only say this once, the most important thing for this whole year is learning to factor really well. Because you're going to do it all the time. Like for a basketball player, I would pick being able to dribble. If you couldn't dribble, I pretty much can't put you in the game. Okay? To be in this class, you gotta factor. And I know a lot of you are gonna be weaker. But if you learn to factor well, you can get up and down the court. You can, run around people. If you can dribble really well, you can play basketball. Without factoring, you're not gonna be able to make it in here. We just have to fix it if it's weak. On this one, I strongly encourage you to talk to that kid next to you about what you think it factors to. Because after you got it factored, it'll be obvious what cancels, and it'll be easy peasy once you got the factoring done. So here's how I like to do factoring. You always start with an x and an x, and then you just check quick, and you go, if I multiply them together, do I get what I want? And yeah, I get x squared. Cool. Next, I always do the signs next. A lot of people do the numbers. I do the signs. Because I know if there's a negative here, then one of my two numbers has to be negative. But they can't both be negative. Think about it. One has to be negative, and one has to be positive to make this number negative. See how I know it has to be a plus and a minus? Now all I got to do is stick in some numbers. Well, it's only two choices. It's either a 4 and a 1 or a 2 and a 2. Because these two numbers have to multiply to this. It's all about that last number. Now, if I'm smart enough to just in my head go, well, if I put in a 2 and a 2, then when I multiply it out, I am not going to get this to come out. Because a couple of 2's isn't going to make a 3, right? So it can't be a 2 and a 2. Well then, by logic, it has to be a 4 and a 1. And then, again, I do some quick logic in my head. Of the 4 and the 1, I want my answer to come out negative 3x. How do I make that happen? With a negative 4 and a positive 1. Because see, that, when you multiply it all out, my outside and inside, that's what it'll all be about, is the outside and the inside coming out to negative 3x. There. And then this is x minus 4 and x plus 4. And then there's one on the top and one on the bottom that really obviously can cancel. And it's x plus 1 over x plus 4. Raise your hand if you had that one right. All right, that's not that many, and I understand why. It probably was the top part, factoring, and it was the top part history. Any questions about that? Yes?
Does that cancel further into 1 over 4?
Ooh, good question. You cannot cancel those x's because they're adding. Let me show you a problem with numbers, and you'll see why. If I had 5 plus 1 over 5 plus 2, would you agree that that's like 6 over 7? Can I just cancel the 5's? No, because they're adding. If this had been 5 times 1 over 5 times 2, could I cancel the 5's then? Yeah. See, I cannot cancel this kind because they're adding. And if they're multiplying, then I could cancel them. Then that's what these are. That's why these can cancel, is because they were part of multiply problems. All right, so I know your algebra is, you're like this is gonna hurt a little bit. You're gonna have some weaknesses, but at least then we'll know what you need to fix. Like if you have a bunch of blood tests at the doctor and he's like, this is good and this is good and this is good, but oh my gosh, your triglycerides are holy, they're off the map. We've got to give you something to fix that. We just got to find your weaknesses now. All right, so if you go in and look at Schoology right now, you will see a Schoology quiz assigned for today. You have 20 minutes to complete it. And if you go like a few minutes over, it's okay, but you've got to finish this in class today. And 20 minutes, I'll tell you when the 20-minute time is up, and I'll give you a few extra minutes. By the way, scratch papers up here. If you want to know how long it should take to take this test, I used to tell people that if you're really good at it, you could do it in 8 minutes. And then one kid decided to prove it to me. He got it done in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. All of them right, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So I'm just saying, if you tell me that 20 minutes isn't enough, I have kids, a lot of kids do it in 8 minutes. One kid did it in 4 minutes. Okay, so if you're listening at home today because you're sick or whatever, today we took this first 20. It's a digital Schoology quiz. Now this one I have to have you take at school. So if you're gone today, come back and take it with me here at home. Or not, you can't take it at home because it'd be too easy to get your big brother who's smarter than you to do it for you. So I gotta have you do it at school. And that's all I got for you for today. One last tip, watch this for a second. If you have to do that, the trap answer is to say, oh, that's x squared plus 16. Nope, it's not. Because it's really this. I'm going to just save you, a lot of you, just that reminder will remind you, oh yeah, that's what that means. And then you got to multiply it out with the FOIL thing. Okay, so don't get trapped into thinking that one's super simple. It's not. Okay, good enough. Now good luck.